Hello, a very good evening once again. I'm back, my beautiful friends. Today was a very long day for me. I'm positioned in Jaipur as of now. Uh, I operated a very long flight starting this morning. I flew from Jaipur to Kolkata, Kolkata to Guwahati, from Guwahati back to Kolkata, and just about a couple of hours ago, I landed back in Jaipur and freshened up. Was very tired, and I thought that what can be the best possible way to freshen up and remove this exhaustion. So I was thinking a few things which have been going into my mind in the last few days. Uh, is about one of the most important things. I saw a lot of students agitating on mm, worthless religious symbolism, matters of religious symbolism. While I don't want to get into that sort of complication, but it was quite saddening for me. I felt so bad and terrible about the entire episode because I have a full faith uh, uh, in the coming generation. I always believe that the youngsters of today are the future of tomorrow. Whatever the seed that will sow today in our fields will determine what sort of crops will it result into tomorrow. So it is very important and crucial that we sow proper seeds, take good care of them, give good fertilizer into them. In one of the previous talks, I have mentioned about ahar shuddh rakhna. It means you have to ensure that whatever intake you are giving into your system remains pure, remains pristine, remains clear of all nonsense contaminants. It should always be soul soothing. It should always have sort of a divine angle associated with. Divinity is not symbolism, religious symbolism, for God's sake. Let's not get confused with those things. So, I was once again recalled of how I was brought up by my grandfather. One of the most baseline teachings that my grandfather has always taught me, I can call it Shruti Parampara coming in. Shruti means everything that we hear and then transmit to further generations. It has been the traditional mode of transmitting information, knowledge from one generation to another. So there were my grandfather always used to say a particular Sanskrit shlok, which had the meaning of which was that it is trying to describe five qualities, five attributes which should be exercised, professed by a student, a person who is in the state of brahmacharya. Brahmacharya, once again, I would like to reiterate, reassert that it is acharan, living a life in a form as if to attain Brahma Acharan in your life. Seeking Brahma. Brahma means seeking the true self, and uh, and live a life in a form as if this life should be guided. This life should aim towards, we should lead this life towards attainment of only one goal, the under evolving at an understanding of what my true self is all about. So Vidyarthiyam Panch Lakshanam, this shlok is called. You can Google it, it will be there definitely, I'm not sure, but definitely I haven't Googled it. The shlok is like that: Kak Cheshta Bakodhyanam Swananindra Tathaivacha Alpahari Grih Tyagi Vidyarthiyam Panchalakshanam. So the shlok tries to explain that five qualities or attributes that are expected of a scholarly mind, a young scholarly mind. The first of the attributes is Kak Cheshta. Kak is a Sanskrit word which is used for the common bird crow, the black crow. Kak cheshta. Cheshta means focus, determination, determination to attain something, a focused mind to achieve something. So I'll give you an example what kakcheshta looks like. When I was a child, we had a couple of mango trees in our own residential compound. We have a lot of mango trees in the orchard, but apart from that, these mango trees which were there in our Patna residence. So summer days, mangoes were ripe. I, along with my brother, we both were climbing the mango tree to pluck a few mangoes, and this crow had a nest in that mango tree, and he sensed fear. It might have had some eggs in its nest, so it sensed fear that I'm going to destroy or hurt its eggs, and it attacked me, and it identified me. It was so funny. I was lodged in that crow's memory. We quickly got off the tree and ran into our house because it was attacking us like a fighter jet, and from that day, for the next 1 week, 10 days, whenever that crow spotted me, it used to come and dive, and at one occasion it was even successful to puncture my skull here. And look at that, if you look at the crow, it is so determined, it is so focused, no one can detract it from its attention. If there's a food item which it had spotted and it wants to get it, it will keep coming in one time, two times, three times, till the time it grabs that food. So that is what kakcheshta implies. Kakcheshta is the strong determination that qualitatively defines what a crow is all about. So a student's first attribute as per this shlok is kakcheshta. Bako dhyanam. Bako is another Sanskrit word for the Hindi, for a bird. The Hindi for it, we call it bagula, or in English, herons or egrets. And have you ever seen these birds in shallow streams or ponds or lakes? They are sitting there focusing down into the water till the time they find a fish and they grab it, and thereafter only they are satisfied. They are so focused, they are not moving, they are even breathing slow. Their focus is there, and no fish can escape their attentive mind. So this is what Bako Dhyanam implies. Focus like a egret, focus like a heron, focus like the Hindi bird Bagula. उसकी तरह ध्यान लगाना, उस पे ध्यान लगाना, इतना ध्यान केंद्रित करना on doing anything. There was this small little booklet which I have it for a very long time now. It's almost torn. So it is by the mother of Aurobindo Ashram. It talks about the attributes of an ideal child. So it says, an ideal child likes to study when he is in school. He likes to play when he is in the playground. He likes to eat at mealtime. He likes to sleep at bedtime. And always he is full of love for all those around him, full of confidence in the divine grace, full of deep respect for the divinity around. Now the thing is, see how beautifully the mother also says and demonstrates the same thing, Bako Dhyanam, the second feature. In fact, these encompass all the other features as well. It's just spoken in another language, in another way. So Bako Dhyanam is a similar thing. When the child, as a student, when you are in school, you are not going to think of anything. You are there to study. You are there to focus on your education. So focus there on your education in your classrooms, in libraries and all these things. If you are in a playground, then you are there to play. You are in a playground thinking of a movie or thinking of losing out on studies. No, that is not going to work out in your favor. Once in a playground, focus on your sport. When you are there on the dining table, I do this mistake several times. On the dining table, I sit with a book and then eating and reading. No, no. When you are on a dining table as a child, as a scholar, as a student, you focus your attention on the food. So while you're eating, you're eating. While you're reading, you're reading. While you're playing. You're not mixing businesses. So the second attribute is bakudhyanam, deep focus, attention. The first was kak cheshta, determination. The third attribute or the feature which is expected of an ideal student is Shwan Nidra. Swan, another Sanskrit word for another animal. See how beautiful, we have learned the attributes from live nature around. This is what the rishis, the scholars, the munis of ancient historical wisdom, they used to learn from nature. They used to learn from things everywhere. Their minds were always open, always ventilated for information coming into them from any source without any discrimination. So the third attribute is Swan Nidra, sleep like a dog. Have you ever seen a dog sleep? Yes, it sleeps, but it is always attentive. Its sleep is very fragile, it is not sleeping long. Like several of us nowadays in this new generation, we sleep till very late in the mornings and we remain up in the night. Night is to sleep, morning is to wake up, do some physical fitness, some exercises, get prepped up for the wonderful, promising day ahead. And if you're not prepared, how will you welcome the day? Even if the day is promising and you're not prepared to live up to that promise, this is injustice to that beautiful day, which is a gift of God to us. So, Shwananindra means sleep appropriately. Sleep nicely, but don't oversleep. Be attentive every time. You have to be careful of everything that is happening in your surroundings. This is called living up with general knowledge, information, what all developments are happening in and around the society. Even contextually, a building is caught up on fire, we are sleeping. No, we are going to die. The fire will burn us, kill us. So we have to be aware of our surroundings, of our environment. So this is what is meant by Shwan Nidra. The third attribute of the 5 attributes which are expected of a student. The fourth is very challenging nowadays in the times of McDonald's, Domino's, Pizza Hut, and these are nowadays several other chains have come up. The fourth attribute talks of Alp Ahari. Alp means limited, Ahar means food. So we have to control our diet. If a student just believes in eating everything and is just dreaming of eating food, then the child's focus is, somewhere else. It is so misplaced. So food, as a student, we have to start believing, because your student life is your building block for your adulthood, for your grihasthashram, for your sannyas, for your vanprasth, for different stages of life. The type of the habits that you will build as a student will define you what type of adult you become in the future. So Alpahar means limited food. Eat balanced food, eat limited food. Treat food as a fuel for your body. Just don't live. Foodie is the word which has become very fashionable nowadays. I am telling you, be cautious of this word. We should love food, we should appreciate food, but being foodie does not mean that you will just eat and hog and keep eating and become unhealthy and just become a prospective customer for all the hospitals around you who are waiting to encash your habit of eating too much, not doing any physical fitness, not living life in a disciplined way. This is what translates into huge paychecks which we offer very generously to the booming hospital industry. All the best. I'm not against any industry, I'm not against any business, but not at the cost of our younger generations, definitely, for sure. So we need to build up this culture for healthy eating, limited eating. We have to understand and make our children understand the significance of food, the significance of variety of diets which we can take, and the limitation of and not limitation, the other challenging side of being, eating endlessly, eating too much, gaining too much of weight, gaining too much of fat. No, that is not healthy, that is not good. Take my words in a positive manner. Please do take my words in a positive manner. Even if I have phrased in an inappropriate manner, I don't have any intentions, negative intentions. The only thing that I intend to do is to motivate you, is to share with you something which I feel deeply from inside my heart. So we have discussed 4 attributes out of the 5 attributes, and the 5th attribute, which again nowadays I have had that experience, Grih Tyagi. I was a boarding student right from the childhood, and till my college time, till my research time at the Delhi School of Economics, I have been away from home. I have stayed in boarding hostels, lived alone, studied. So Grih Tyagi is not just physically living alone. You can be with your parents, very well with your parents. My children stay with me. I have not sent them to boarding school. But Grih Tyagi is a mental state more than a physical absence from the domesticity. In today's world especially, we have to adapt with the changing environment, changing world. So Grih Tyagi means a student. Now this is more for parents, not for children. We have to we have to behave and conduct our domestic sphere in such a manner that we don't involve our children too much into the discussions, the debates, the chaoses, the discomforts of the Grihastha ashram. That is not their domain, that is not their forte. They are in the Brahmacharya. Let us encourage a distinction, let us encourage a separation, let us encourage a divorce between these 2 ashrams. Even if our children are staying at home, we can make our home in such a way that there is a small ashram within our home, psychological ashram within our home, in which our children are inhabiting. They are living in that ashram. So we have to ensure that the children do experience this disconnect from the multiple chaoses, disturbances of the Grihastha ashram. One of the small examples from my own life, I'll tell you. When I was a very small child, my parents were, with all due respect, my parents were talking not very pleasant thing about my grandfather, and I overheard it, and it did upset me very much, very deeply upset me, and I felt so terrible about it. I approached my parents and complained that why are you talking something like that. So it took my attention away. I find it very silly today, but still, I was happy. I'm happy that I was always an aware child, and I was not just a follower. I was always a person who would question even my parents, even my grandparents, my uncles, my aunts, my siblings, anyone, I could question. So children need to question as well. So we have to understand that this stage, which is the most crucial stage, this is the building block of life, the student phase of a human being's life. That is why, if you look at it, all the other animals, this learning phase lasts only a couple of months. Birds, animals, they learn for only a few months, and thereafter they are left by their parents and they are on their own. But in case of humans, this learning phase lasts till 20s, early 20s, or maybe, and it's a lifelong learning, that's a different thing. But the main learning, the building block, the root is developed till the time the child uh, attains early 20s. So you look at the expanse of time, and that is what discriminates us from all other living species, that God has gifted us with an ability to think and question, and to come up with a inquisitive mind, which would question that why am I existing, what is the purpose of my life. And this is where human life needs to be demarcated from all other life forms. It's a very blessed life. It's a blessing that we are born as humans. So it's important to understand the reason why God has chosen us to be born as in the human race. So 5 attributes of students: Kak cheshta, bakodhyanam, swan nidra, tathaiva cha, alpahari, grihityagi, vidyarthiyam, panchalakshanam. Enjoy your evening. I am freshened up by talking to you. I am away from my children. Through this video, I am going to convey my message to my own little girls there back home in Delhi. And thank you for listening to me. Thank you for hearing me out. God bless us all. Just live fabulously, develop compassion and unconditional love for everything around. Enjoy.